Misfit, written and read by Charli Howard. To all the girls who have ever felt their bodies weren't good enough. Dear listener, before you start, I just want to warn you about a couple of things. The topics I write about are sensitive, and I really want to be honest about my experiences, because I believe talking about things is healthy, and we should be able to discuss these matters openly. However, there is a lot of honesty in Misfit. This is a book about my mental illnesses. I use words that I find best express how I'm feeling. Mental, cray-cray, insane. I know that some people find these words offensive, but, for me, it is the best way to talk about my life. So, if you find that problematic, please be aware that you will find words like these in my book. This is also a book about my eating disorders. I have suffered from both anorexia and bulimia, and I want to talk about them because I'm recovering now and passionate about promoting body positivity. But I wasn't always that way, and I have to honestly show what my life was like when I suffered from my eating disorders. I know how certain images, words and phrases can trigger difficult emotions in people suffering from eating disorders, and in people who have suffered from them in the past. I know that people with eating disorders will look for weight loss inspiration everywhere, and that this book could be one of them. Therefore, be warned, there will be triggers in this book. This was the most truthful way for me to tell my story, but I do not want to cause any harm to others at all. The reason I have been so honest is to help others who feel a pressure to look a certain way, to realise that happiness is not proportional to dress size. If you are suffering or could be triggered, please do not read this book. I'm not a health professional and there is no advice in here. It's all just my experience. Although all the stories are real, for obvious reasons some names, dates and even locations have been changed. That's because it is my story, not theirs, and I have been respectful of privacy. Also, when you read this, you'll discover that I was quite badly behaved, even as a kid. My teenage years were no better, and there are stories of underage drinking and other stupid things in here. I in no way condone or promote any of this bad behaviour. I was an idiot. Do not try any of these things at home. I really regret them, but have put them in this book because they are part of my story. These things happened to me, and if anything good came out of my experiences, it is that I can share my mistakes so that maybe other people don't have to make them too. If it ever seems like I'm making light of a situation, please be assured that I'm not. It's just that humour is the best way I know to find light in the darkness. And you can find humour in just about anything. That is my philosophy, but I don't want anyone to be offended by what I've written. This is my personal story, not a self-help book. If you are suffering, be kind to yourself, and maybe don't read this just yet. Charli, kiss. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt. Prologue. I am not normal. From the ages of 4 to 6, I thought I was a dog. A German Shepherd, to be precise, though I could also be a Dalmatian, depending on my mood. The dogs I grew up with were spoilt and loved, and played around all day, so that's what I decided I wanted to become. I'd put my hands up to my chest and pretend they were paws, then walk on my tiptoes to mimic the way dogs' feet arch up. I'd squint at things in the distance, the way dogs do when they spot something they're curious about, and growl under my breath at strangers. In fact, I squinted so much that my nursery sent me to an eye specialist because they thought I was going blind. I was obsessed with becoming a dog, barking at strangers in the street in the hope they'd mistake me for a real one. To prove how passionate I was about my alter ego, I spent one Christmas writing countless letters to Father Christmas begging for a metal dog cage I'd seen in the Argos catalogue. I wanted a big one, with room for a few pillows so it would be comfy to sleep in, and space to allow me to grow. Funnily enough, I was disappointed on Christmas morning. Like many parents, mine thought this was just a phase, until my school genuinely became concerned and wanted me tested for autism. That's when the "why can't you just be normal" questions began. I didn't know that wasn't considered to be acceptable behaviour. I was happy pretending to be a dog. In fact, I would go so far to say that I was probably the happiest and sanest I've ever been. Since the dog thing...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?